Hi, everyone. How's it going? My name is Lyndon Bredner. And just before we get into the pleasantries, just some quick housekeeping items to take care of. First of all, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to put them into the Q&A box located at the bottom of your screen. We will answer any and all questions that you may have at the end of the presentation. Also, clips from this will be available on social media as soon as we can get them up there. If you have any questions that come up later, feel free to email me after at lyndon@canadaaction.ca. With all that out of the way, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Lyndon Bredner. I just finished my degree at the University of Lethbridge. I've been with SFC for about 2 years now, and I am so excited to tell you more about what we have planned for this summer. So given the last 2 years being what they were, we're finally ready to kind of let everybody out of their cages and really have a great summer here.
Perfect. Thanks for that introduction, Lyndon. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Tatiana, and I'm from Calgary. I've been at SFC for about 2 years now. I'm a graduate from Carleton University with a degree in environmental studies. So I am super passionate about bringing in that ecological side of the conversation that we're having here at SFC.
All right, so now that we've done a little bit of the pleasantries, let's do a quick rundown on who SFC is. So SFC is a national career development and networking program designed by students and young professionals for students and young professionals. We want to bridge the current narratives that have become so polarized and to show that Canada can have a future with natural resources. We want to create a community of young people such as ourselves who are concerned with the future of Canada while also being environmentally responsible. So to sum it all up, career development, networking, and making sure that all young Canadians know about our illustrious records when it comes to Canadian resource industries.
Yeah, so we have three main pillars here at SFC. Like Lyndon mentioned, one of our main goals is balance within how we adjust the topics of Canada's environment, economy, and social well-being, as well as our conversations about them. Since a huge thing for us is balance, we try to stay clear from polar extremes as much as possible. That's why we have those three pillars that we always stand by: people, planet, and prosperity. So people, the state and quality of life of Canadians and just human beings in general; planet, the protection of the environment and becoming collectively more ecologically sustainable, this living harmoniously with nature; and then prosperity, the welfare of our economy and society for the stability of ours and future generations. With these pillars in mind, we are constantly having those dynamic and diverse conversations and are able to connect with students and young professionals Canada-wide in hopes of making our future as bright as possible.
So why SFC? Just to quickly introduce myself, thank you everybody for coming. My name is Justice Otto. I'm a finance graduate from the University of Alberta, and I've been working with SFC for just over a year now. I've always had a huge passion and voice for the importance of Canada's resources to our economy, and I love bringing that perspective to SFC. It's pretty obvious in our day-to-day lives that polarization of opinions is leaving us more angry, more uncertain, and more divided every day. And nowhere is this more apparent than in discussions that surround our natural resources. And there's a huge gap in understanding on both sides that can be very apparent. SFC is here to heal that divide and show that we can make more progress when we hear everybody's perspective. I know when I was in university, it seemed like there was no room in the conversation for someone in the middle. And myself, who believes that we should protect the environment, but also that we should protect our economy and our resource sector. That's why SFC really had a big appeal for me.
And not only is polarization one of the things that we see throughout Canada, but there's also a huge lack of education on our natural resources. I myself have found these conversations to be few and far between, even growing up in Alberta. I distinctly remember one lesson on like the basics of the oil and gas sector in Alberta coming in grade 2. But even in that lesson, I remember hearing verbiage that is a little outdated and frankly not true. I have flashbacks of hearing the term tar sands and seeing that same term in my science textbook. And this memory is still incredibly present when I still to this day talk about oil and gas. Now, I know all my fellow speakers have heard me tell this story, but it's just still so clear in my mind, even almost 20 years later. And it's one of the main reasons why I myself joined SFC. So going back to my education, I think from that point on, any lessons that I did get that had to do with oil and gas revolved around the negatives of the industry and the things that we often see on social media. because of also that polarization element that's so prevalent in Canada. And it's the combination of the polarization and this lack of education that has honestly sparked the creation of SFC 2 years ago. I'll let Tatiana get more in depth on our reaction to this, though.
Yeah, so I have kind of similar experiences. So I grew up in Calgary, but went out east for school. So I've seen completely different mindsets throughout the provinces, all of which have equally valid concern. And something that's really important to me is advocating for each pillar of people, planet, and prosperity to all hold equal value and importance in the conversation. And from what I've noticed from friends and colleagues that I've met in Ottawa is that it's really crucial that that care for the environment is genuinely acknowledged, especially when talking to advocates of resource development. It can truly only be a balanced conversation in the middle when all sides are willing to validate points of the other rather than have this constant debate that we see on social media, like Lyndon mentioned. That's why SFC is so important. It's a group of students who just genuinely want to open up the conversation to ensure that all sides feel heard and that we can create solutions that actually equally address all those important spheres. So those who are passionate about resources or the environment or both or more have a chance for their voices to be heard confidently and in a positive environment.
Hi, everyone. My name is India. I was born and raised in Calgary and just recently graduated with my commerce degree from Dalhousie University. Growing up in Alberta, oil and gas was a normal topic and a topic of conversation and an industry that I felt very passionate about. When I moved to Nova Scotia for school in 2018, I was shocked at how people reacted to the conversations about the oil and gas industry. There was a very bad narrative surrounding it, which made me feel like it was something that I couldn't really bring up in conversation because people would think poorly of my views. People thought that the industry was dirty or something to be ashamed of. Whereas for me, it was something that made me feel proud to be Canadian and connected me to home. I felt alone because the topic was so polarizing that people didn't give me the time of day. It seemed like on both sides of the conversation, people didn't want to listen to each other. That's what's so special about SFC. We're trying to encourage balanced conversation about natural resources across the nation and provide a safe space for everyone to share their opinion.
So like I said earlier, we're a career development and networking group. To build off that, we want students who have that same passion for Canadian resources and responsible development to come and join. The main piece to the networking is to create a community of students and young professionals alike that are passionate for Canada's resources. And like what Tatiana said, can all speak confidently in positive and fact-based manners. How we do this is by bringing young professionals and students alike together in the same spaces where they can mingle with executives of different companies representing different industries, allowing young folks to learn more about the industry and to build connections that can really help you develop your career and even get you jobs in the future.
Yeah, exactly. And another key focus that we really have here is just broadening people's knowledge about resources, innovations in resources, and also just various other wins that Canada has been making as a country through all the brilliant minds that we have here. So through our career development and food for thought speaker series, we consistently bring in professionals, professors, and even students from various industries and sectors all across the country to come in and speak about their respective experience. So we've had speakers from all over, like waste management, agriculture, forestry, hydrogen gas, so much more. And they've also had professionals come in to talk a bit more about career development. So like building a successful resume or becoming more confident in your networking skills. All in all, we're just hoping to expand the minds and experiences of our listeners and then to bring in that new interesting information and then just also to bolster everyone's career paths.
So as I mentioned before, moving to Nova Scotia, I felt nervous about sharing my opinions on resources. Since I went through this anxiety surrounding the topic, I figured that I couldn't be the only one. It turns out that I was right. This year, I started SFC campus chapter at Dalhousie and was able to acquire over 50 members from various years and programs. This chapter provided the space that was missing when I first started at Dal, a space where people could openly and respectfully talk about our natural resource sector. The members of my chapter were very excited about it, and I was thrilled to create a space where people feel comfortable voicing their passions and concerns. And I hope that this chapter lives on for years to come.
It's really important for us at SFC that all opinions are heard. And we really try to instill that in everything we do. And we want the discussion to go beyond just choosing either the environment or resource development in a two-sided debate that you always see in the media. We want to show that solutions are found when we collaborate and different opinions collide in a respectful way.
And one of the big things that we want to do is create a program that is by students and young professionals for students and young professionals. As the group that is making their way into the workforce, one of the goals is to create a program that has been built by so many different voices and opinions. And we can't create the country that we want to live in by sitting by and watching the world go around all around us. It leads into our next goal of providing diverse work experience for different students and young professionals. For myself, 2 years ago when I started working here, I knew nothing about resources. Now I can confidently speak on many different parts of the Canadian resource sectors. Speaking also, believe it or not, was one of my biggest fears too. Had you told me 2 years ago that part of my job would be going to different places and publicly speaking in front of people would not be something that I would have believed. But don't just take my word for it on terms of the diverse work experience. In this group that is speaking here, Justice has a degree in finance, but he also built a wicked website. Tatiana, who has a science background, got into videography and writing content. And India, who's a little enigmatic, and I don't really know what she did for school, but she created merch for us. But not only that, our social media is ran, monitored, and overall just created by the works of an engineer and geologist who create their own content, schedule posts, and they do the whole thing. So this work experience isn't the only thing that we offer to students and young grads. However, recently we created the program SFC Beyond, and it's for young professionals who have moved on from academics or no longer consider themselves a student, and they're now working on developing a career in natural resources. We really did this because we know that you don't want to be considered a student anymore, but we still want to expand your network and have you meet with other people who are emerging in these energy sectors. So the program is brand new and only started a few months ago. So we have still some work to do, but we're looking to plan some networking events, whether that's golf tournaments or, just going to a restaurant and sitting down with people. And we really want to provide opportunities for these people in SFC Beyond to present in our Food for Thought and Career Development series, and really just support passionate SFC members in finding careers and going out and starting clubs on campuses.
Yeah, so we'll just get right into what's happening this summer. And you might be wondering why we're pushing involvement so hard, especially for this summer specifically. Well, SFC has put on a lot of student initiatives in the past, but nothing has really been as big as what we're planning. So essentially, how would you like to learn essential project management skills, impress some major C-suite executives with your ideas, and then also compete for prizes to get your campaign for resource advocacy funded? So it's time for the SFC Summer Advocacy Challenge. And we're looking for individuals such as yourselves to band together with your peers at whatever company you work with this summer and come up with a campaign initiative that can change the way Canadians look at natural resources. We've been wanting to do this for a long time, and the interest from corporate executives is definitely there. They want to see what their own students can come up with to increase advocacy and who has the passion and the drive to succeed at it. So SFC is looking to create solutions driven by students and young professionals that solve the issues facing our resource industry. Things such as how to attract more Canadians to resource jobs, changing the polarization or the approachability of natural resources in Canada, or how to highlight innovation in the industry. And there's so much more than just that. So the winners would get prizes, but working together with your peers to create more acceptance for natural resources has benefits beyond just awards and recognition. If you get funded, SFC will be putting your idea into action. And think of how cool it would be to put on your resume that you helped create a national campaign for resources, proposed it to a group of executives, and convinced them to fund your project. All of this in the span of one summer. If this sounds like something you'd want to be involved in, make sure to sign up to volunteer with SFC as soon as you can and tell your company that you want to be involved, because we're looking to host this Dragon's Den style event on June 29th, which gives groups around 1.5 months to come up with a solid plan and convincing pitch that can secure the hearts, minds, and dollars of influential listeners. Even if you aren't with a company in Calgary, but you want to put together a team that can give you your best shot, it's open to all students and young professionals across Canada. And don't worry if you feel like a small fish in a big pond right now, like when I first started. SFC is going to be there to help with project management, information, and to give general expertise along the way. Advocacy for Canadian resources is kind of what we do best.
So another big part of this advocacy challenge is that not only will you be in a competition with other people, which for me, I love, but afterwards you'll get to kick back and relax with them, kind of eliminating that small fish in the big pond element. So getting to meet these people, hence why this summer, every second Thursday after work, for the duration of the summer, we'll be hosting an in-person social event. Obviously, locations are TBD, because I don't know if you can make rezos that far in advance, but if we could, we would. So this is why I'm just going to start telling you now. Follow us on social media to keep up with where we'll be. These socials are open to anyone and everyone, and it's really just a way for us to create that community that we've talked about throughout the presentation.
Yeah. And like I mentioned earlier, another keystone of our offerings is our speaker series. So tune in online every Thursday at 2 p.m. Mountain Time to learn from professionals in so many different sectors. They give a really brief 15 to 20-minute presentation, followed by a really nice in-depth and informative Q&A session. So you have the opportunity to ask them any questions that you may have. Those speaker series, again, fluctuate between career development and resource education. So you're always going to be learning something new and gaining something valuable every week. So what is in it for you? A lot. So we have a ton of fun ways that you can not only get involved, but benefit from being part of SFC through projects, events, and career building throughout the year. We have career and resume development opportunities, like getting the chance to work on passion projects that you may have. You're able to hone your skills and competencies, and everyone has the opportunity to gain experience in their own respective fields, as well as to network within them. So it's a great opportunity to get that kind of experience. And if you have any ideas at any time for a project or an event or anything, we are way more than happy to help you make that reality. So it's also great to get in touch with people and professionals, other students and young workers in your field or interest. So we've got members spanning literally coast to coast across Canada. So online events are a really great way to network for that. And if you're in Calgary, if you are here, we have a bunch of those projects and other events that we mentioned previously. So if you want to come out to our social events, we got a bunch of fun things we've done. Like in the past, we've done bonfires, trivia nights, park cleanups, and a bunch more. So we're always trying to find new ways to have fun through meeting others and networking and just being more interactive as a community.
And the next one is passion projects, are something that we just love to see here. We want all young professionals to be passionate about their work, just as we are. Something about SFC is that there is no such thing as a bad idea. Okay, well, there's probably a couple bad ideas out there, but the thing is nobody here will tell you no. If you want to write a blog on the future of hydrogen, absolutely do it. If you want to make a video interviewing different people who work in the fisheries industry in BC, do it. We aren't here to hold you back in any way, and we would rather see you succeed and do something that you're passionate about. And the beauty of these passion projects is that not only will you learn more about these different industries in Canada, but we'll give you a platform to show that knowledge off and expand the message. And with that, it kind of feeds into the valuable experience you can put on a resume. So if you're doing blogs for us or you're a content creator, it's all stuff that you can put on a resume. Obviously, with the advocacy challenge, you can say that you took part in that. And we're really just trying to build up your future careers as best as we can to help you have as successful of a career as you possibly can.
Yeah. And, obviously due to COVID, it's been a tough last 2 years to build those team relationships with the people that you work with specifically and network beyond just being online all the time. So SFC isn't really just about work and projects, although we do love those. The social interaction is a big part of our program, especially during the summer. Through our events, we really hope to bring back that in-person collaboration and the interaction that we know a lot of you have been missing. So we've had plenty of people tell us how great our in-person events have been for gaining contacts and just having fun after work is done. We hope to keep building on that this summer, and we hope to be hosting bigger and more frequent gatherings as the summer goes on. So should be exciting.
Yeah. So Sorry, PowerPoint's stupid, but anyways. All right, so as we're starting to wrap up here, before we get into any questions, let's just talk about what you guys can do for us right now. So since I'm a recent graduate of Zoom University, I can only assume that you've all been on your phones this whole time. So close the TikTok app and go to Instagram. Follow Students for Canada. Next up, connect with us on LinkedIn, and finally sign up for our newsletter. Signing up for our newsletter literally is just scanning that QR code that's on the slide and then filling in some quick information so that we can get you on our email list and keep you up to date with what we're up to here at SFC. Now, you may also be looking at the join us bit. And yes, I did just tell you through different actions to join us on social media and in the future. But listen here, we got a little shindig going on tonight at Kaylee's Pub on 4th Ave. So get yourselves down there after work for some free food and beverage. There's literally nothing to lose with any of that. So who knows? You might meet your future best friend tonight. So with all that being said, thank you all for coming and tuning into the SFC Open House. If you have any questions, feel free to put them into the Q&A box below and we'll answer them as best we can. Again, if you guys have any questions that come up in the next few days, feel free to reach out to me at lyndon@canadaaction.ca, and I'm more than happy to lend a helping hand. I hope to see you all tonight. And if you aren't in Calgary, don't worry, we will be planning something at a place near you.